Hi, in this video, we will understand how do we restrict our strategy to a set number of open positions. So in order to have a particular number of open positions, you can basically select your condition builder, and there is a keyword that we have called open positions. And when you click on this keyword, it gives you an input for an instrument. Now it is important to know that if you are trading in a strategy which trades in options, so let's say if you're looking at options of a particular underlying, like let's say Nifty or Bank Nifty or Fin Nifty, or if you're trading in options of, let's say, a stock, a particular stock, and you want to restrict the number of open positions in only that particular underlying, in that case you will select your instrument out here. So let's say if I have been trading in Nifty and I want that in my option strategy there should be only 3 open positions at a particular time. In that case I will select Nifty as my instrument, and I will select a keyword as less than or equal to, and I will select number, and my value will be 3 out here. So it will now see that at your strategy level there are 0 open positions and it will allow a trade to happen. So let's assume we are trading in one particular ATM call. So when this ATM call entry is triggered, it will mark the open positions as number 1. So 1 open position will be there. So after trading your call, let's assume a trade in the put is triggered. So it will now mark the put as the second open position. And then let's assume that after this, there's an ATM plus 1 call that is triggered. So it will mark this call as the third open position. So now the strategy will not allow any further entries until any one of these instrument has been squared off. So let's assume this put instrument gets squared off. Only then it will allow the next trade to be happening. So this is how the open position keyword works on a on an instrument where there are multiple underlyings possible. Now you need to note that when you are using, let's say, an ATM call as an instrument, if let's say out here you have traded in, let's say, an 18,000 call, all right, and after trading your 18,000 call, if there is one more trade that is triggered in the same 18,000 call, then it will not restrict the open position logic, because it will assume that 18,000 call is already one open position, and if there is another trade in triggered in the same 18,000 call, then it will assume that you already have one open position in 18,000 call, and that is why it is the same position being taken again. So that's why there will be no restriction on the trade of the 18,000 call. So that is one thing that you need to remember. Now it is also possible that you are using your open positions keyword for a list based strategy, which means that you have a list of an X number of instruments, and now you need certain instruments, like certain number of open positions in the list based strategy. So in that case, let's say if you have a list, in that case what you will do is you will go to open positions, and in the underlines, in the instrument out here, you will not select anything. You will basically leave this blank and you will click on OK. So in this case, it will now look for the entire list level. So if you are looking at one instrument level, then it will restrict the number of positions in that instrument. So let's say had you selected HDFC Bank out here in the instruments, in that case it will allow only HDFC Bank options, or the instruments of HDFC Bank to be triggered through open positions. Since you are looking at a list out here, you will keep this open positions keyword instrument as empty, and now it will basically check for open positions of each different instrument. So let's say if you take a trade in HDFC, so it will mark it as one open position. Then after like 5 minutes you take a trade in ICICI. Then after another 2 minutes you take a trade in Kotak. So now that you have 3 open positions, it will wait for any one of these instruments to be squared off. Let's say if one is squared off, only in that case it will allow a trade in the next position. So that is how the open position keyword works. Now do remember that there is a caveat out here. So if you are using this open position keyword, the way Tradetron is checking for conditions is that Tradetron will check all the conditions that are there in the condition builder for each instrument in your list. So let's assume you have a list of these six stocks. It will check conditions as HDFC, ICICI, SBI, Kotak, Infi, RIL, all of them, and after that it will decide in which condition is the trigger true. So let's assume in SBI it is true. In that case, it will take a trade in SBI. So what happens here is that since all the conditions are being checked together, like all the instruments conditions are being checked together, if you are using open positions and you are using a strategy which is somewhat like a range breakout strategy, or two different instruments trigger a trade at the exact same time, it is possible that the on the previous check, the system saw that there were zero open positions. But at the very next instance, when the check happened, it saw that the trade was triggered in all these six instruments. In that case, it will bypass this open position rule, because at the previous check it found that there were zero open positions, and at the next check itself it found a trade to be triggered in all six. So accordingly, it will fire a trade in all six different instruments, and after the trade is taken in all six different instruments, it will now try to it will now wait for the three of these instruments to be squared off, and after the fourth one gets squared off, which means only two open positions are there. In that case, it will allow a retrade to be happening in any one instrument. So this is one thing that you need to know. So if you are facing this kind of an issue regularly, then there are two different hacks that you could use. One, you could reduce the number of instruments in your list. Um, if that is not possible, in that case you can add more conditions to that particular set of conditions, so that there are the probability of lesser number of stocks qualifying for all the conditions would be greater. In that case, that would help you solve this kind of a problem. So I hope this video on the same topic helped you. If you have any more feedback or on topics that you want us to cover future videos on, please feel free to drop it in the comments and we will take it up in the future videos. Thank you.